But this is how a villain is born, right? Possibly a villain can be born. It's like, oh, so a kid learns, I need to lie. I can't, because if I'm being truthful, then bad things happen to me, So this is kind of how,
Well, there are many lessons that can be extracted from that. One of them also being like, you can't really trust your friends either because they just run away on you.
right, right. This is what you get for being a good friend. And,
Yeah.
came back for them and they just ran away. It's like, so this is why the world is just chaotic, right? Like there's so many different responses and reactions to different things that kind of inform people with very different. Because like I was saying, right, you could have turned out into a villain, be like, the world sucks. I need to lie. And become a serial liar. Imagine, right? Some people became that way because of something happened in their childhood. They're like, yeah, they were being honest at first, and then there was a big negative consequence that happens, and then they're like, oh, so they took the wrong lesson. They took the lesson that, oh, I need to lie. Then I need to make sure that I'm protected. I'm not gonna do
Yeah.
that again. I'm not gonna be a victim again. I'm gonna see. This is how predator can possibly, become reality. So, and again, the interpretation is very different, right? Sometimes you have you are born with a certain quality, right? Like some kids will not lie. They're just like, I'm just not a liar. I don't care if, but why is that? Why wouldn't you lie to protect yourself, right? Because some people, they're like, it makes sense to lie, right? Why wouldn't you? Because, it protects you. Screw everybody else. But some people have a more, I don't know, born with a moral, I guess. They're like, no, I can't do that.
I think kids in general, like, it's at certain point, they essentially discover lies and they
Yeah.
discover things. Like the way some comedian was making a joke that essentially this little intellect is with us from the very early ages, but it's literally learning. It's like a learning algorithm. So, for example, if it notices that telling a story a specific way to adults elicits like a positive response,
Yeah.
they'll notice it.
Yeah.
They're like, okay, if I say that, and if I
Let's do that
say
more.
this type of stories, like I get a good response. And that's how you literally, yeah, adopt behavior too. But yeah, it's to your point, it's still unknown how, like if you get a certain trait from the inherited or somebody taught it to you, which as a child, you don't filter out what you're being taught. You literally absorb everything like a sponge, right? Then you just have it. And it's been kind of predetermined for you because you stumbled upon it and then now you're have it. You're it. You didn't make a conscious choice. It's like, who am I going to be a truthful person or not? You don't get to decide that, maybe years later, once you're adult in
Yeah.
psychotherapy and you're examining all these accumulated beliefs, maybe then you can do something about it. But as a child, we gather this personality, I think. I think I heard an interpretation like that kind of first part of life, we're accumulating all this programming. And then once you start questioning things and why things are this way and that way, you start to deprogram yourself and deconstruct all these programs either through psychotherapy or spirituality. There's so many modalities. I really
But
think that's what it's about, for if you don't do that at some level, then you essentially are not living a conscious life.